The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, looking good, Billy Ray, feeling good, Lewis. We'll start out the show like we usually do with the German DAX and the FTSE, which I posted up there. As you can see, the German DAX is breaking out into new high ground with a couple of small ABCD patterns there at the top. And as you can see, the FTSE is just in a big period of consolidation over the last several months. But I did want to bring one more up to you, and that is the Hang Seng Index over in Hong Kong, because this is a longer-term weekly chart. But as you can see here, we have some cycles coming in here. We just completed a Gartley up there at 26,900. It's actually a perfect one, by the way, and that is very, very significant. And we're trading around 26,000, not 2,600 today. So we'll take a look at it. It's really fun because we're getting news from our friends over in Hong Kong. Some of them are actually working from home now, and it's a little different for them, and they're trying to work it out, and they asked me how I do it. I said, I don't know home from non-home, so I've always worked for myself, so I don't really remember. We're going to do something a little bit different today, boys and girls. We're going to do something a little bit different. Here's what was going on last night. Just get this up here so we can take a look at it. This is the AI, the Artificial Intelligence Program. Last night, you'll notice right around 6 o'clock in the morning, New York time, 3 o'clock in the morning, Tucson time, we started to see the market move up. Now, the market took off and really got all the way up to 32.10 at that time. And you'll notice on the right-hand side over there, you see that right-hand side, that little red predictive thing over here, which is a time factor, has nothing to do with price, all to do with time. It's telling you that it was most probably going to be up in the early morning with a high degree of probability, and it's all probability. Hold on here. It says, you don't actually trade these stocks that you post, do you? I can't trade all of them. No, I can't, but I do trade some. I don't trade stocks at all, but I do trade the others, of course, yeah, but not the others. But let's just look to see what's going to happen today. This is a little bit of a, hold on just, oh dear, we got to get the right one up here. Shut the front door and raise the rent, and here it is. Let's get it up here, and we'll be able to see it. Because here, I just updated it, so you'll see where we are right now. And, okay, sorry about that. All right, this is the, watch 10 o'clock, folks. This is the similar that what happened back on Monday when we had that big reversal day when we dropped 1,000 points in the NASDAQ. This is the same type of situation happened. Now, does it repeat? I don't know. It happened on Monday. Maybe it happens on Wednesday. The other thing that you might want to pay attention to is the fact that the NASDAQ is now lagging the market. Now, that'll take about 35 minutes to change that, but keep an eye on that. Maybe it works, maybe it won't. We'll look at it tomorrow just to see how it works out. So you don't have to necessarily pick a top up there. We're trading at around 23.31 right now, and I think that's above the highs of June. So we've cleaned out the highs of the last 2 weeks, and we've got the Dow moving up now. So that helps a little bit, and the NASDAQ is lagging a little bit, but still moving up. But use some common sense at around 10 to 10.15. If you're, you have an idea that your 400 period and 200 period moving average and your oscillators are turning, give it a shot. Anyway, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. And maybe you just buy more at that time. It's going to be up the whole rest of the day. Instead of being only up 500 points in the Dow, we'll be up 2,500 points in the Dow. I'm going to talk about soybeans in just a minute. We've got Rich Anderson as my guest, and I met Rich, oh dear. I can't even remember the year that I met Rich. I remember the circumstances around it, but he'll be on at 9:30 and we'll talk about it. But I really believe we're getting close to let's do the soybeans since we've got time here, and you've been kind enough to bring in the thing. Let's get this up here. Here is the one that we're looking at. this is the one we're watching here. This was the one from Monday, folks. This is what I said, don't want to be buying yet. Secret pro. I don't know what that means, Mr. Z. Secret probation. I'm off of probation now. They got me off probation a few years ago. I was innocent, by the way. Okay, this is the November bean contract. Remember the 912 up there, folks, on the daily was a 618 spot on. Going back to the highs that were made way back in January, I believe, and that's brought to this nice correction. We're looking at around 870 as a possible buy here. We're waiting for that pattern to partially unfold. So that's the kind of thing that we're paying attention to. Here's where we are again. This is where we are today. You'll see that we got almost to that 870 level. We got down to 872. We've now rallied up. We still think that we had a small little ABCD pattern there in November beans, and we're looking to see if we can get it down one more time. The reason for this exercise, folks, is there's a lot of similarities in these charts between what's going on in beans, oil, and meal that is very similar to what happened in 1983 and 1988. Nothing more than chart patterns, folks. There's no fundamentals involved, China wasn't even well, they were always buying beans at that time, but nothing like what's going on now. Brazil was the bigger player at that time, but these are just chart patterns that we're looking at. Whether they work or not, I don't know, but the good part is nobody else does either. So we're just looking to see if the ones that might work. So I am going to be focusing on beans, oil, and meal here in these next few days. Those of you that are on the 24/7, you'll be getting a little video about those, where might be the best entry points to look at it. But that's what we're waiting to see it happen. Now, there's a lot of news in the markets now about China and Hong Kong and all the things that are going on over there. Basically, what that law in Hong Kong did, it flat out stopped the Molotov cocktails and people throwing 20-pound bricks onto the front windshields of cars driving down the freeway and knifing people and stuff like that. We saw a video yesterday of a young man, 23 years old. He didn't wear a mask into McDonald's because he didn't have a mask. They wouldn't serve him, and he went absolutely berserk. I mean, this young man has some serious problems. We don't, of course, they have video cameras everywhere, so I'm sure he didn't hurt anybody. He just scared a bunch of people, but he went literally ballistic. He went postal, as they say in the trade. So I don't know. But anyway, let's move on to a couple of things that are going on. There's so much news out there, folks, and all of it, from all the different countries. You never know what is going to, what is true and what it isn't anymore. Even the things you think are true are not true. So you've got to pay a close attention to what your inner instincts are telling you. Now, we've got a break coming up, but we've got to cover, because we've got Rich coming up and we've only got a short segment today. I want to talk just a tiny bit here about this natural gas again, because we're also looking at a potential big bottom in natural gas. And you'll see where we are now at 173, 174 this morning. But what I'd like to do is I want to bring this, we'll bring it up at the break.
If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, TAS understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the TAS Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the TAS Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today. Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
All right, we're back, folks, and we are taking a look at a post that comes from one of the major commodity houses, and it's basically warning their subscribers that if they're in that natural gas, that they have to be very careful because of what happened in crude oil going negative, and there's a possibility of natural gas going negative. If you believe that, I still have 2 shares of the Brooklyn Bridge. Whenever they warn you, folks, they didn't warn you about crude oil, so who knows? But anyway, that's just for information purposes. And remember, crude oil did go negative. We've never seen that in all our history, but we've never seen the kind of markets that we have right now with this virus thing going on. So just pay attention to it. Follow your charts. That's the main thing. You can read all this stuff you want, but it comes down to looking at the bar chart. If prices are going up, there's more buyers. If prices are going down, there's more sellers. A lot of different reasons for them buying and selling, but that's the main thing. Let's take a look at crude oil, folks. We're almost ready to break out into new high ground here in June, taking out all these highs that we've had up here. I frankly believe that we're going to make a top. If we do, is going to be around making a new high somewhere between 41.40 and 41.75. I don't think we'll get much above that. We could get as high as 43.20, though. If you'll notice the ABCD pattern from June, on June 28th, when we were trading at 31, we went all the way up to 40, back to the 61% retracement. We made a big double bottom there between the 11th and 12th. We had the big move up back on the 14th, and that told us that we're most probably getting ready to move. That was the 14th of June. Then we made a double top. We went backwards and forwards in here, but the top should come if it hasn't already been made, and who knows, maybe that's already been made. But frankly, it looks like this ABCD that we have going on here at 41.20 is going to be hit. We're only a few pips away, so that's really nothing. The 127 on this is 41.75. That would make a 3 drive to a top pattern in there, with the first drive being back on June 5th, and the next one on June 23rd, and this last one coming in here on the 15th of July. So let's watch that, because it's I don't think this is running away to $50 or anything like that, but that's my opinion. I'm just looking at the charts. We're seeing the same thing in the heating oil around that 128, 129 level is doing pretty much the same thing. So that's the main thing that we're watching. Now let's get back to something that I wanted to go over with you, and that is on this possibility of the market moving into a high at 10 o'clock. I just want to show you this, folks, one more time because it's really important. The main thing is this is related to time only. Has nothing to do with price. We could be at 32.80 at 10 o'clock, and it wouldn't make any difference. It's the time that's involved. That means that around 10 o'clock, the market should start down. That's just a probability. Now, this is being continued from yesterday, so it's a pretty good probability. So what you want to do is to see, well, is it going to continue to be right? I don't know, but nobody else does either. All it's giving you is a time factor. It's no different than if you were looking at a key aspect, which just has nothing to do with any astrology or stuff like this. This happens to do just with the major vibrations of the E-mini, and it's all based on time. In other words, instead of looking at the price axis, this is looking at the time axis. So you watch at 10 o'clock. And if it keeps going stronger at 10:30, I mean, if we're making new highs after 10:30, it doesn't really mean very much. So the next thing you do is shift your time out to 1 o'clock. And if that's the case, the market's going to sell off the last 3 hours of the day. Now, on Monday, that was a huge amount in the NASDAQ. It dropped $10,000. And I know not many people were involved in that, but if they were, that was a huge move. So these markets have a tendency. Look how quickly we moved 32 handles this morning. It's just been an hour and a half. For heaven's sakes, it doesn't take very long to do that. So let's keep in mind here. Okay, we've got a question here on the intraday cycle program. Back history. Oh, you want me to how? Yeah, I can do how it was reinvented because we've got time here. The way that thing all started, it was back in 1990. I was in Pismo Beach trading up at the house, and Steve Shapiro and his mom lived down at the beach, right at the beach, and Steve would come up every morning before he went to school to teach at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and he brought me this little thermal fax, just like the one I showed you here today that said the S&P would top around 10 o'clock in the morning. This happened to be one that was bottoming at 10 o'clock in the morning, and at that time it was making a perfect Gartley. We were trading. It was a $500 handle. In other words, for each point, it was $500, and but remember, we were only trading at around it was around 250, 260, somewhere in that ballpark. I can't remember exactly, but it's around that time, at that time frame. And at that time frame, it bottomed right at that time frame, and I bought it. And it rallied up about 5 points, which was 2,500 large, and I said, I'm taking it. So I got out of it, and there was a phone number on there from Bakersfield, California, and so I said, I'll better call the guy. And Steve had put a note on there. His name was Dennis Regan. So I called up and I asked to speak to Dennis Regan, and he said, it is he. And I said, look, I looked at your forecast today. My friend sent it to me, and I'm very impressed with what you did. I just booked a profit, and I'm very happy. And he said to me words that I wouldn't repeat to a drill sergeant in the United States Marines. You stupid SOB, MF, all the other words that you could possibly get. You shouldn't be allowed to trade. You're so dumb. And I said, excuse me? He said, don't you see that it's going to go up for the rest of the day? And I said, yes, but I booked what I thought was a substantial profit. And he hung up on me. And I said, oh, dear, I don't want to get involved with this at all. So I just wrote it off. I said not to do it anymore. And then about 3 days later, maybe it was Tuesday, I guess. It was next week. Steve brought another one up to me. And I said, Steve, I don't even want to see it. I said, I don't want to get involved with somebody like that. Well, I did get involved with him, and pretty good stuff. But the problem is it doesn't work all the time, but it's based on the mechanism of the Tomahawk warhead of the missile, the Tomahawk missile. Dennis was one of the 5 engineers that developed that. He had pictures of him and President Bush in Washington, receiving some type of reward. But he was a true genius. But boy, would you talk about eccentric. He took eccentric to an art form. So that's how it all got started. What I've always tried to do is to try to get it automated. In other words, so you wouldn't have to think. In other words, when the thing starts down at 10 o'clock, it automatically goes short. You have no control over it. And as soon as it starts to go down, say 4 or 5 bars, you get it ready to, you go short and then put your stop above that high. The problem is I've tried 2 or 3 people over the past years and no one's ever been able to do it, and I've spent a fortune. But hey, I'm not complaining. I mean, it's been fun, but I've never been able to get it automated like these algorithmic traders, because they're looking for moves of $1 or something, and this is trying to catch something for the whole day. And that's that's the main thing that you want to keep in mind. Well, we're going to have Rich Anderson as our guest here. Rich has been with me the whole way. I'm going to have to ask him, when we met, because I can't remember the year. I remember the circumstances, but I don't remember the year. So let's check out what the markets are doing. We'll see in just a little bit.
Larry Pesavento watches the markets 24/7, and now is a great time to try out his daily trading service, Fibonacci 24/7. Larry publishes videos and charts for subscribers throughout the week when warranted, and every weekend he puts out a thorough report covering worldwide markets, futures, commodities, and currencies with Fibonacci retracement levels, possible trading setups and zones, and stops and targets for all recommendations included. Larry applies the principles he's developed over decades of trading while analyzing a variety of markets for subscribers. To see for yourself the types of videos, charts, and analysis that Larry provides for his subscribers, sign up for Fibonacci 24/7 today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under the newsletter tab. You'll also gain instant access to Larry's archived subscriber webinar from earlier this year. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Sign up today. If you're a trader in the market looking to find the path that leads to maximizing profits while decreasing risk, then now is a great time to try out Dave White's daily trading service, The Path of Least Resistance. Through the use of options and equity trades, Dave advises his subscribers on a daily basis of the current market conditions and what possible trade setups are on the horizon. The Path of Least Resistance is published every trading morning, often with updates intraday when initiating trades or closing out positions. Dave White has advised his clients of some outstanding winning options and equity trades in recent months, and now is a great time to try it out for yourself. New subscribers to the Path of Least Resistance receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the types of options and equity trades that are available by signing up for the Path of Least Resistance today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com and selecting the newsletter tab. Sign up today. TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, folks, and we have Rich Anderson on the line. Rich, how are you doing?
Doing great, Larry. Good morning.
Good morning. Rich, I have an embarrassing question to ask you. Do you remember what year we met? Was it 1974, 75, in that era?
It was 75.
That's right. I remember I used to go into the Payne Weber commodity house there on Santa Monica Boulevard, and they had a squawk box there. Isn't that how I met? I mean, I was giving comments on the squawk box as a customer. Yeah, and then you called me and said, "What's this F word that you're using?" Which was Fibonacci, as I remember. And we've been talking at least once or twice a day ever since. For heaven's sakes! Hey, Rich, tell us two things. How is the police situation in Minneapolis?
Well, it's they all these city council people voted to defund, but then these neighborhoods where they have crime said, "Hey, we didn't ask you to do that." And actually one neighborhood that had a lot of drugs and stuff, the police worked with them and they just blocked off the streets so that the drug dealers couldn't go down the streets, and it's worked really well.
Wow.
People understand and appreciate the police and the safety that it provides, and this overreaction by a city council. I mean, the city council person, I think she only had like less than 5,000 votes, but there's so many people run. It's easy to win if you have a coalition of a small group. It's a weird deal. But that's true in every major city. It's a weird deal.
Okay, how about the virus over there? How's it looking from your perspective in Minneapolis?
It's the young people. The older people are staying home. They're not getting it, so there are a lot more cases. But the age brackets are 20 to 30 and 30 to 40. It nevertheless is slowing down businesses, and particularly restaurants and things like that. And that reverberates back that, the money you don't spend at a restaurant, the tips that you don't give because you weren't there, those people got hurt, but the government made up for it in the CARES Act, and that's why we haven't seen the slowdown in the economy. But if you look at what three major banks did yesterday, Citi, J.P. Morgan, and Wells Fargo, they took down $28 billion in loan loss. That's second only to the last quarter of 2008, as I recall. And even Jamie Dimon, who used to be at Smith Barney and Shearson in those old days, said nothing about recovery and mentioned recession at least 3 times in his talks. These are the people that can see what's actually happening, who's paying their bills, who's behind. And so the federal government's going to, I believe, pass another CARE package in July here. The key is it $1 trillion or is it $2.4 trillion? If it's up in that higher range, our debt will be greater than it was during World War II at the peak. And, we don't really have anything to show for it. We need to get something figured out, but it's going to take a while. If you really want to hear a downer, you listen to the Bank of England had a speech yesterday by a young woman by the name of Sylvania Tenororo or something. I can't pronounce the last name. And she talked about the impact on COVID-19 and how long it would take. The market gets optimistic, and then you get things like Tesla, short. I mean, if that isn't a Bitcoin short covering rally kind of a thing, a bubble, 6,000 times earnings. Wow. The commodity markets are kind of boring because they're focused on the weather, and every place has got most of the rain they need. And it's July, so naturally it gets warm, but it's not oppressively warm. Probably 2/3 of the corn will be pollinated by the end of this 10 to 14 day forecast, which doesn't show anything in the hundreds. The flip side is that I see how we sold off, and yet we haven't taken out the lows. If we can hold in here, all of a sudden you might see some short covering develop in those markets too. But the big downer on corn is as the COVID has slowed things down, ethanol prices, they were actually making some money, and they had gone back up, and we're using a lot of corn, and that's getting real negative right now because of the slowdown in the driving because of all these states. And you trade what you see. These are momentum markets, and take your calculated risk and go with it. But by the way, I forgot to mention that I really, of all the things I've seen you write and do over the years, I think that Floor Trader's Handbook is probably the best thing I've seen for a trader that wants to jump the learning curve to success.
Oh, well, thank you. Hey, Rich, what are the, with these, giving all this money away, 2.4 trillion, that used to be a lot of money. Remember Everett Dirksen? He said $1 million here, or $1 billion here, $1 billion there. Pretty soon you're talking about serious money. And now we're talking trillions. And I mean, what's that going to do to the U.S. dollar? What's it going to do to the price of gold? I mean, years ago, with the stuff doing like this, gold would be at 4,000 or 5,000 by now.
Right, but nobody's borrowing because everybody's in a fear mode, and so the Fed can put all the money they want into the economy. If nobody's borrowing, there's no multiplier effect, and therefore there's no inflation. It's deflation. Pandemics, I could send you a chart from, I don't know, forget who it was from, but pandemics typically are deflationary kind of a situation, and that's because of fear and everybody's holding on to their stuff. But Canada had a $45 billion drawdown in economic activity, and they fixed it with a $65 billion giveaway, so they're even more generous up there than we are down here.
Wow. Rich, we have a question from Mr. Z, one of our frequent callers, and it is, what month do you think the hogs might turn? October, December, or later? What do you think? I mean, do you think they've got a chance sometime to turn?
Well, there's for the last 3 to 6 months, we've been looking for China to bail the hog market out, and then we've had all these problems, and today's problem is Hong Kong, and of course the Chinese Lockheed Martin, can't sell anything to China. Well, they're not allowed to sell anything to China anyway, so they were just taking the sleeves off their vest. But all of a sudden the president could get upset or something. They're starting to buy corn. They bought a bunch of corn yesterday, but they haven't really bought a bunch of hogs. There's been COVID cases in almost all these hog plants, and what the Chinese have found is that can stay on frozen meats. They found that outbreak in Beijing, 2-3 weeks ago, that was salmon from Norway. So they're very hesitant, I think, to become large buyers. Now, that's different for corn. Their stocks are very low. The corn price is cheap, and so maybe that's why the corn doesn't make new lows, even though giant crop coming.
Yeah. Hey, we got to take a break. Could you stay with us for a few more minutes?
Sure. Happy to.
We'll be right back, folks. Rich Anderson, Anderson Capital Management.
The gold market has taken off topside in a large way in 2020. If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my gold report. The gold report took profits in 4 of its equities in the gold portfolio in the first week of January for a combined profit of 99.2%, with 2 positions left in the portfolio that have a profit of 67.5% as of January 7th. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The Bull Bear Trading Hour with Tom and Tommy O'Brien. Next.
Hey, we have Rich Anderson online. Rich, Shane Smolian, who will be our guest tomorrow, asked us a question about the crude oil inventories today. Do you watching that? Anything that you're looking for there?
Well, I think I read something this morning. But I don't have the numbers in front of me right now. The thing I'm focused on more is OPEC over the weekend, I think, will make a decision that their cutbacks have been 9.7 billion barrels, and I think they're going to reduce it to only cutbacks of 7.7 billion barrels. And that's, I think, going to be the bigger market focus early next week. Just like the EU has a meeting over the weekend, and I think that may have, on what they're going to do for their recovery. And I think that may have something to do with the currency come Monday morning. Those, I think, are the bigger stories. The stocks numbers in Cushing, Oklahoma, et cetera, that's like a 15 to 40-minute kind of a deal. It's not a very big deal. But OPEC taking their reduction in production down from 9.7 to 7.7, I think will be a much bigger story. And that'll be, over the weekend, a decision will be made.
Richard,
by the way, China has bought a lot of pork. Their hog ministry said that by the fourth quarter, all their restocking is, should ease their shortage of pork. I mean, their imports from the U.S. are up 73.5% from last year, but that can't make up for all these restaurants and all the cafeterias and stuff that are closed. We had a heck of a grilling season. Meat was 4% over a year ago. But, until we can open everything up, and even restaurants, when they open up at 50%, they're not going to be using the amount of meat that we need to be used to have a real bull market. So I'd be going for, December's normally not a very good time other than for the hams. I'd probably be going into next year and look at the Februarys.
Okay, that makes good sense. Rich, we've known each other, a pretty long time here now. Did you ever dream
I know,
back
and you were a lot younger then. You'll be a lot older next week.
Hey, look, man, I'm at the 8th furlong pole, boy. What am I supposed to do? Hey, I still like the same things I liked at 30, but I just don't remember why. Rich, did you ever think that we would have all of this information and all of these things to trade? Do you realize when we started trading together, we were only looking at about 25 commodity markets. We had no options. We didn't have the CFTC came in 75, and 1980 I think was the NFA. So I mean, look what's happened in these years. I mean, my goodness. I mean, now the Board of Trade is pretty much gone. It's now part of the CME, for heaven's sakes. And everybody thought the Board of Trade would absorb the CME. It's just been totally amazing to me what's happened. So wow.
But,
folks,
and the amount of information you can get for free. I mean, listening to TFNN radio, this is like a private squawk boxes that we had at Payne Weber for the commodities and another squawk box for the stocks. Now anybody has access to that quality information. I mean, I think you do an amazing job every day. I don't see how you can work so hard myself.
I can't either. But, folks, you don't realize how much Rich reads and how many sources of information he has. I mean, you've been a wealth of information. Now that you're locked down, you have even more, don't you?
Yeah, that and working out's about the only thing I have to do. And I've gotten in the best. I'm down to college weight now. That's pretty impressive at my age.
Holy cow. Boy, it sure is. That's really amazing. Of course, you do that dancing. You still do ballroom dancing, don't you and Lisa? When it was available?
There's none of that anymore because it's confined spaces and, you can't even get a haircut without being worried about.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing. Well, listen, I'm going to let you go because I know you're busy this time of the morning. Thanks for joining us, and keep us informed on this weather pattern that we could possibly see this massive El Nino coming in, and that could be interesting. So let us know if you see anything, okay?
I will. I'll keep you posted. Have a good day. Trade well.
You bet. All right, folks, let's get right back to the markets here. I posted a chart of what is happening in the E-mini. Instead of the market going up into 10 o'clock, it's going down into 10 o'clock, but it's also telling us something. Let me just bring this up to you so you can see it. This will be a very interesting thing to look at because the time is 10 o'clock. I know it's still 15 minutes away, but you have to wait those 15 minutes because we still could be at a top up there at 15 minutes, and I think that is what is happening. This is a time cycle, folks, has nothing to do with price. So if we make a new high up around that 32, 34 area, that's 10 handles from where it is right now, that would really say this thing is really lining up to go lower. Now, if it's a little bit lower than that, and then we break below 32.10, this is going to be down for the rest of the day, and I would be watching it very closely as a possible reversal day if we get below that 32.10. So even though we're only going to be on for a few more minutes here, it's actually 10:10 is the exact time. So if we're up around that 32.28, 32.30 at 10:10, you'd like to see it making a new high. Actually, whether that'll do that or not, I don't know. But keep an eye on it. It's a little tool for day trading or getting yourself putting into a position. That's really what you're watching about. Another one to look at is at 11:30. Keep an eye on the gold market. If we get that gold down to about $17.99, that would be a real interesting one to pay attention to. That would be right around the 10:30 in the morning. Might as well, since we're reminiscence here about old times and stuff. In fact, I spoke to Steve Shapiro yesterday, who started all this, and we were laughing about it. Let's move this on. Here is the gold prediction for today. So watch for a reversal in gold at around 11:30. This will be the last time I show these things, folks, because they're a little too complicated, and I don't want to get you folks mixed up from what you ordinarily do. But because it is new and not many people are doing something like this, I thought I would be able to bring it up. Now, I wanted to take 1 second here. We have another question from someone. Yes, it does look like it is inverted right now, but you have to wait until 10:10, Tucker, because at 10:10, if we're above 31.28, that means it's not inverted. So it's so accurate with time. That's what's so good about it, because if you do something and you wait 10 bars, which is 20 minutes, and it's not working, you can flat out bet that it's wrong or it's inverted. So that's the key to it. You've got to be able to, understand how it works, and it took me a long time to figure it out. And I still don't know how it works sometimes, but boy, when it's right, it certainly is right. The only good thing that we're seeing here is that we're having a pretty good rally here in the NASDAQ. It's made some new highs here in just a minute. Let me double check that one just for kicks and giggles just to see what's happening with the NASDAQ. It might have a totally different yeah, here's the NASDAQ. Here's the NASDAQ, same thing. Let's just get it up here and take a look at it. This is what the NASDAQ is looking at. See, the NASDAQ is telling us we're probably going to go into 1010 as a high. So watch that time. It's going to be interesting. It's if nothing else, we'll learn from it, right? And guess what? We're coming to the end of the wire here. We're going to have to pay a few bills, and then we'll get back and talk about our guest tomorrow. Shane, thewolftrader.com, will be our guest with always good stuff. He's got some really good stuff on Fed Juice tomorrow. 877-927-6648.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as...
Whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
You see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us. And Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and to help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that'll take you step-by-step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
Bam! If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
With markets trading with extreme volatility and peaks and troughs everywhere, regardless of what you're looking at in the markets, this is a great time to see the type of analysis Basil Chapman delivers for his subscribers every market day with the Opening Call newsletter. Basil has been analyzing markets, providing his take for subscribers to his trading services since 1984. Every morning, Basil publishes an update for his subscribers, along with weekend and evening updates when warranted. The Opening Call provides traders a daily market overview with regard to the direction of the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, along with specific recommendations, including stops and targets. You also gain instant access to Basil's subscriber webinar archive from earlier this year, a dark cloud cover, and essential market analysis. Ride the Chapman wave today by signing up for the Opening Call newsletter on the front page of TFNN.com under the newsletter tab. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Sign up today.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, lastly, we want to talk about the euro. I posted it up here. The potential double top up in here, folks. But believe me, if we get much above those highs, we could really run. And remember that dollar index that we've been watching is very, very close to breaking down. And we want to make sure that if this happens, there's going to be a lot of things happening, because if that dollar index breaks down, that means that these folks that are buying our treasury bonds and treasury notes want to take a little protection, and that means rates would probably be higher rather than lower, which would be a big surprise to everyone. But remember, we live in these interesting times with the Fed has their money machine going, and they can move these markets quickly. As we can see here, we dropped about 80 handles in the S&P and came back 84 handles. We dropped 1,000 handles and 1,100 handles in the NASDAQ, and we've rallied back to a 50% retracement so far in the NASDAQ. So here we're coming into time here. We're still not meaning everything. Remember, we start making new lows after about 10 o'clock, 10:15. That is going to be a very negative picture, so we'll keep an eye on that, as we know that would be at around 3209 in the S&P if that's what you're following. So keep close to it. Remember, tomorrow we're going to have the Wolf Trader himself. Shane Smolian will be our guest, and he always has great information and sharing us the parts about the Fed juice that I still don't understand, but boy, it's certainly in there making a play for these markets, and we need to be watching it very, very closely for sure. The euro now is backed off just a little bit, about 25 pips off those double highs, but that's what it's holding so far. So we'll see whether that's going to mean anything or not. Tesla's trading at around 1510 after making a high of 1797. We went all the way down to 1435. We haven't made a 382 retracement yet in Tesla. That comes in at around 1535. So keep an eye on that if it happens. So live every day in an attitude of gratitude, and may God bless, and be sure that you do something for folks that have a lot less than you out there, folks, because there's more and more of those coming to come to it. And remember my GoFundMe page. Send me money so I can distribute it to the poor. 877-927-6648.